Okay, Craig, high dosage tutoring.
Here we
So,
go.
yeah, so high dosage tutoring, everything points to it being effective if done correctly.
That's right.
So, as a district administrator that might be new or looking at this as a potential solution, what is high dosage tutoring and why would it be important for me to look at that?
Well, there's a body of research that indicates that if you put students one on one with a tutor or with a small or in a small group, and you provide a lot of tutoring throughout the year and over a long period of time, then you can have a really big impact on student learning. And this is very closely tied to all the research around mastery learning, right? Like this is sort of a vehicle for delivering mastery learning, which is really exciting. And with ESSER, with that funding opportunity and the mandate to fill in the learning gaps occasioned by the pandemic, a lot of school districts have adopted the high dosage tutoring model and either brought in their own tutors or used vendors to bring in tutors and work with students. So that's what high dosage tutoring is. It's small groups or one-on-one, lots of tutoring over a sustained period of time. Um, but it's been found to be effective. But there's a but, and it's you sort of have to replicate the lab conditions, right, to get a lab
Mm.
result, right? So there are certain characteristics of high dosage tutoring that have been found to work that the district kind of has to roll with, or you could call it high dosage tutoring, but it's not actually going to get the outcome that you want to have.
Makes sense. I've seen a few of those characteristics, and I'm not going to share them all. We are going to post some information on the blog for everybody, but data-driven instruction, the intensity and frequency, duration and consistency, like you mentioned, you need to sustain it. A quick question for you too. When we're talking about individual, one-on-one or small groups, how do you address scaling that? If you're a district administrator and thinking about more students than just small pods.
Well, scaling is a real challenge, right? And it's going to be a challenge after the ESSER funding is complete too, because the school district, let's just face it, school district funding models and budgets are not built around high intensity tutoring, right?
Right.
So typically, in the absence of a kind of a once in a lifetime funding event or a major funding surge from the federal government, high dosage tutoring is reserved for targeted, practically speaking, it happens with targeted populations of students, right? Um, with the current ESSER funding levels and the American Rescue Plan, we're seeing a much broader run of it, which is exciting, an exciting opportunity. It's not necessarily a forever opportunity, but it adds to the pressure of getting it right and having it be as effective as possible because a lot of teaching is happening and a lot of tutoring is happening in a very short span of time. You
Mhm.
mentioned the criteria. We've actually published on our blog a kind of an analysis of 10 major characteristics of high dosage tutoring that are identified in research as being a component to the success, and a rubric that you can use as an administrator if high dosage tutoring is happening at your school or your district, or if you're planning a high dosage tutoring initiative and you're creating that proposal or kind of structure for it. You can use this rubric to kind of evaluate your programming and see where there might be some hot spots, areas of strength, and maybe areas that can be strengthened.
Where does this go wrong? Where does high dosage tutoring fail?
You know, I think one area is it's a challenge. It's a logistical challenge to get the tutors there, either virtually at the same time as the students with the device or in person at the school, right? Like that is a monumental task in and of itself, right? Where are they going to go? Do we have the infrastructure? All that jazz. But it's just the beginning, right? Because if you don't have, so you're convening and you're getting the hours in, right? But then the where it tends, so that can fail right there. That's a huge pressure point, right? But then the second point of failure is what are they actually doing with the students, right? What are we focused on? And if there's not a really clear structure and direction, then it can devolve into homework help. And a little homework help never hurt anybody, right? But there's no way that you're going to do homework help and then that result in a deep mastery of skills or making up for a learning loss that happened in classes, years ago, right? So, is the emphasis on skill mastery or is the emphasis on just whatever the student needs help with today, right? Like one of those is going to produce a much bigger, stronger outcome. Hand in hand is data, right? Are we using, small group and individual tutoring means that this experience can be tailored to exactly what the student needs, but only if we have the data and we're looking at the data to drive the decisions about what is this tutor working in. So those are two of the major things, and Mastery Prep has a big interest in this because we're already trying to, what we do is we help provide resources and structure to help develop mastery of really essential, non-negotiable skills that students need to have that then drive their test scores. So we're already kind of thinking about it from this lens, and it can be a real challenge. Typically a tutor needs more support than a teacher, right? Because a tutor in general there's less requirements professionally to be hired as a tutor versus hired as a certified teacher. So you need more support, and there's more variability in what a student needs. And so all that adds up to is the need for more structure, the need for more data and analysis. Anyway, those are two dimensions that are identified in the rubric that can kind of help you get thinking about, what to do to improve your high dosage tutoring efforts or instigate a healthy initiative if you're just getting started.